Hello again, Maxtivity artists. It's time to stop, drop, and art. Today we're going to talk about Marc Chagall. He was one of the very first Jewish artists to become world famous. And one of the things he's most famous for is his stained glass windows. We're going to show you some pictures of those during this video. So today we can't actually make stained glass, of course. That's a really complicated, dangerous project. But we're going to make something faux stained glass out of some plastic sheeting and construction paper and markers. So hopefully we'll have some cool projects to put in our windows and have the light shine through when we're done. So I have a plastic sheet. It's just something you'd use in a binder. I'm not sure what kind of a plastic sheet you have, but this is just a plastic sheet that was used in a folder. So that's what I'm going to use. And my tablecloth is kind of psychedelic looking. So I'm going to slip a piece of paper underneath of it, some scrap paper underneath, just so you can see what I'm doing better. The paper isn't necessary. It's just for you to be able to see what I'm doing. So Chagall's windows were usually shaped like an arch. So I'm going to start by making a big arch on my paper. Big arch like this. Can you see that? Maybe I need to make it a little darker. Maybe I'll use a black for the arch. Big arch. It goes almost all the way up to the top and down the other side, and maybe across the bottom here. So it's a great big arch. Looks like a tombstone. That's the shape of most of his windows. They were called the Jerusalem windows, and he made 12 of them, and they were huge. This is a little one. My hand fits inside of it. But the ones he made were like 10 feet tall. So we're going to make tiny versions of the Jerusalem windows. And some of the things that Chagall liked to put in his art were flying animals. He liked to make cows and goats flying through the air. So why don't you go ahead and make some animals flying through the air? Maybe just one animal. We'll just do one animal. I'm going to make a kind of a, I don't know what this is, some kind of a cat or something. Flying through the air. It doesn't have to be great. It can just be however you want it to be. It could be well, I think we'll do a bird later. So yeah, we don't often see cats flying through the air. And that was one of the interesting things about Chagall's work. And I'm going to go ahead and color it in with my marker. Crayons wouldn't work on this plastic sheeting, would they? Not really. No, I would say no. So I'm going to color my cat in with my marker. The only markers I have at home that aren't dried up are Sharpies, so that's what I'm using. But you can use whatever markers you happen to have. Oh, permanent markers. My trusty assistant says they have to be permanent markers or they'll smear. Well, we'll see. Use whatever you have if you don't have permanent markers. I think I'll make a sunshine in the sky. Chagall sometimes liked to make moons or suns in his paintings. He was a painter. The stained glass came later in his career, so he painted and he did stained glass. I'm just going to make a yellow circle for a sun. He also sometimes liked to do trees. So I think I'll put a tree. Now, you can really do whatever you want in this picture as long as it's bright and colorful. Chagall loved lots of bright colors. Sometimes he made his people purple and his animals blue and giant red chickens. He just liked to use lots of crazy colors. So I think I'll make my tree trunk blue because that's something that Chagall would probably do. Where's a blue? All I have is a thin blue. I'm just gonna make a tree trunk, maybe a little branch coming off the side. So you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. I'm just giving you ideas, but you should be drawing some kind of colorful stuff going on. So you can see there's nothing on the paper. It's all on the plastic. What else could we put in our picture? How about a bird flying through the sky? Maybe he'll be flying down low, or he could be sitting in the tree. Let's see, a circle. Nope, that's too light. I need something darker. What about this one? A pink bird, a circle and another circle. That can be a bird sitting in a tree. All we have to do is give him a little beak and an eye. See, we've got a bird. We should give our cat some eyes too, and a nose. So we're just creating a nice picture on our plastic sheet. And maybe a little house. Chagall, sometimes he liked to paint pictures of the village that he grew up in Russia. And a lot of the little houses in his village paintings just look like this. Just a square with a triangle on top and maybe some smoke coming out of the chimney. So we could do a couple of little houses like Chagall's, maybe like Chagall's village. Let's have the smoke going the same direction. But his houses were always very colorful. So I'm gonna make the houses bright colors. Maybe the roofs can be green. I don't know if you can see that very well. Be nice if I had a big blue one. So you can just keep putting things in your picture, but eventually we are going to want to color the background. Let's see. Probably a blue or a yellow for the background. There's a nice darker blue. How about we put a musical instrument? Because Chagall liked to put musical instruments in his paintings also. Sometimes flutes or violins. This one is flying through the sky. I'm not really sure. Maybe it looks more like a guitar. I'm not really sure how to draw a violin. Just kind of a figure 8 shape with a long handle and some strings going through it. That works for me. I could even go like this. Make it look more three-dimensional. A flute would be easier, wouldn't it? If you want a flute in yours, a flute could just be like this. And then you could put some holes in it, just some little dots. And you could make music coming out of it. If you wanted to. So musical instruments, people, sometimes mandalas, kind of like a circle with another circle with another circle. You could just do some kind of cool designs. Just crazy. Pictures were crazy. There was just all kinds of stuff going on in his pictures. I'm going to put a little person in the middle of that. Lots of things going on in his artwork. Lots of color and activity, animals, just kind of, I am limited as to what markers I have that aren't dried up. That's the problem with markers, isn't it? They dry up so quickly. Maybe put some ground here and maybe there's a little road going through the village. Maybe there's some pink grass growing by the tree. All right, I think there's quite a bit of stuff going on in my picture. I'm going to start coloring the sky. So now, when I'm done coloring, I want to put this on some black paper because I'm going to make a frame for it. But I don't want the black paper to cover up, well, I'm going to cut it out so that it just goes around the outside. So how should we do this? I think what we need to do is cut out our curved window, but we want to leave a little bit of space around the outside so we have something to glue our frame to. So I don't want to cut right on the purple line. I want to cut about 1 inch or ½ an inch away from the purple line so that I can attach that to my black paper. So let me get my scissors, which I should have had before. So when I cut this out, I'm gonna leave, see how I'm leaving about ½ an inch or 1 inch around the edge. So I have something to tape my picture to. Then I can trace it onto my black paper with a white pencil so that you can see it better, because a lot of stuff doesn't show up very good on black, but I happen to have a white pencil. So I'm gonna trace around like that. It's okay if it's not perfect. And I'm gonna cut that out. Now you can see I have 2 pieces of black paper, and that's because I couldn't find my a big piece of black paper. I thought I had some, so I just taped 2 together. It'll work. All right, now. Oh no, I can't see it. What are we gonna do? Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to cut out a little bit more of the black so that it's all like a frame, hollow inside. So let's see. That's easy for me to do. You're gonna have to poke a hole in yours. You're gonna have to poke a hole in your black paper so that you can get your scissors in there. And then you're gonna create your frame by cutting all around the inside about 1 inch. All around the inside. Don't cut all the way through it. Don't ruin your frame. Your frame has to stay in one piece. This is a little bit tricky, but you can do it. You poked a hole in the black paper, and now you're, now you're cutting out the center. So it's just about the same thickness all the way around. Let's see if this worked. Let's see if my plan worked. Okay. Ta-da! It made a frame. But it still doesn't really look like stained glass, does it? So I flipped my frame over, and I've cut some long strips. And I'm just gonna kind of have these going crisscross to create a stained glass look before I put my picture on. So cut some long, thin strips that can go all the way across, and maybe you want to do some at an angle. And then position them how you want them to be. I think I'll do, I think I want to trim that one a little shorter. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So we're just creating some crisscross lines to make it look more like stained glass, because stained glass often has leaded separation in the window that kind of goes between the different pieces of colored glass and holds them all together and makes them strong. So we're kind of creating the look of stained glass here using this paper. You can put more on if you want. Maybe I'll put one going up the center, except I don't think this is long enough. Oh, you know what? It doesn't have to go all the way, does it? Let's see. I'm just going to cut one. You could have some that just kind of go, these are all kind of going diagonally, but I think I want some that go a little bit vertically. Oh, that'd be cool. I'm going to cut it right here so that it kind of goes like that. They all have to attach. It can't just be floating in space. It's got to attach to another one. So you want them all to attach somehow. That looks cool. I'm starting to feel more stained glassy. Okay, I gotta cut my tape thin because I don't want to see it. I want it to stay hidden behind the black frame. Ooh, I like that. You could even do it more if you want. If you like doing those strips. Maybe we'll do one more. So I'm just cutting a real thin piece. And I think, what if I put it here? But I'd have to, well, I'll have to go all the way up to the top. There we go, then I don't have to cut it. See, it stops here though. It doesn't just stop in the middle. It has to have a point where there's a boundary. All right, that's nice. All right, so I'm gonna tape it up here. You could use glue for this. Don't have to use tape, it's just today I'm using tape. Sometimes I just like to do different things. Okay, now we've got it looking like stained glass. Now we can put our picture on. I'm excited to see how it's gonna look. Gonna put the picture back. And then what happens if we put this on top? Look at that, it looks like stained glass. And if I hang it in my window, it'll really look like stained glass. It's gonna be so cool. So I have to turn it over and attach my picture. I wanna make sure that my picture is right side up, right? My picture's right side up. That's the way I colored it. This is the side I colored. And then I put the frame down. I don't want to see any of the tape or anything. This is the side of the frame I want to see when I'm done. Then I'm flipping it over and I can put little dots of glue on the black paper. I can put little dots of glue all around. I don't have to put glue on this part. Just around the outside edge of the frame, I can put little dots of glue and attach this and let it dry, or I can try taping it, which depends on how much space you have on the edges of your plastic. If you don't have very much space, like right here, there's no space. So that's gonna be hard to, I could cut it a little bit, but that's, you don't wanna cut your picture on accident, so be careful. All right, that's good enough. And it's all done. There we have it, our Chagall, faux Chagall stained glass window. And I will show you a picture of it hanging in my window at the end of the video. Great. So I've come upstairs and I taped my Chagall stained glass window on my window. And look at the light from the sun comes through. Not that there is much sun today, but what light there is comes through and makes it look even more like stained glass.